Hi everybody, welcome to USA Hockey Arena in Plymouth, Michigan, the home of the National Team Development Program. Interesting story. We have a guy who played for the National Team Development Program, won a Stanley Cup with the Pittsburgh Penguins, back here to help out a new generation, I guess you can say, of the NTDP, Kevin Porter. Kevin, thanks for your time.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
You know what, I was looking at your record, and it's very interesting. The early days of the National Team Development Program in Ann Arbor, you designated a U18 and a U17, but it looked like, and I have a roster here, you had like 50 guys all on one roster. How did that all work?
Oh, well, I think it was all combined, one team at that time, and then, we had the 17 team and the 18 team, but I think it was all just basically one team, and just kind of split into two, a little bit different than today. But, yeah, I think you could play on any team at that point.
And, back then, and we're talking the NTDP forming in 1998, you came on around 2002. How did you find out? There was no internet to find out about the NTDP. There was, I was working in hockey back then. We were using fax machines.
Sure.
How did you find out about the NTDP?
Oh, I think just the small hockey community. Yeah. You kind of hear from people around that this program had started, and coming up playing midgets and bantams around here, people talk. And once the program started, it was, a lot of people talked, and that was kind of word of mouth was the way I heard about it.
You come from the Detroit area, Livonia, if I'm not mistaken. Did you want to stay close to home or at home at that time?
For sure. I actually grew up coming to a lot of Whalers games,
okay,
close to home. So knew a little bit more about the OHL than I did, college and then the program as well. But grew up coming to a lot of Whalers games, so definitely wanted to stay close to home. So it was nice the program started in Ann Arbor.
Well, let me ask you this, because I ask a lot of our current players this. Did your NTDP experience, did it meet or exceed your expectations?
Oh, I mean, it definitely exceeded. It was awesome. I learned a lot. I had some great coaches here. David Quinn and John Hines both went on to coach in the NHL, head coach in the NHL. So some great leaders there, great assistant coaches, just good people all around. I learned a lot. I developed a ton, both on and off the ice. So it was a great experience for me.
Now, I pulled out an old media guy from 2002 and 03, and I open up to page 18 and 19, and there you are wearing number 86. You were allowed to wear the big numbers back then, yep. And your friend Chad Klorek wearing 97. You guys look very, very young. I'll say that.
Yeah,
I'm going to give this to Tori, and maybe he'll put it up as part of the interview.
Sure.
What do you remember of Chad Klorek back then? Did you guys play on a line or anything like that?
Oh, I think, it was very similar. They mixed up the lines a lot, so we eventually played on a line together for a little while, for sure, and probably some power play units together. But I remember meeting Chad at Select 15s, and then we both ended up making the program, and became friends our junior and senior year, and then we obviously went on and played at Michigan together, our roommates there. So known Chad since we were about 15 years old.
So what prompted you to go to Michigan?
That's a good question. I think the coaching staff there, the style of play, they're a little more offensive. I don't want to say run and gun, but
right.
definitely more offensive, and that's kind of the player I felt I was at the time. But also learned how to play defensively. I liked the coaching staff there. I'd already been in Ann Arbor for 2 years. I liked being in Ann Arbor. I liked being close to home. So those are some of the factors of choosing Michigan.
Now, you won the Hobey Baker Award as the best college hockey player in the United States at that time. I talked to Matt Gilroy last year. He won the Hobey Baker. Yep. And he said back then there was like no fanfare. There wasn't anything on television. Of course, the internet was just starting.
Yep.
Did you find the experience to be close to the same?
Yeah, pretty similar. I think we did one at the Frozen Four. We did one signing, and a few people came. It was the three guys in the Hobey hat trick, myself and Ryan Jones and Nate Gerby, and we did one signing, signed a few posters, and that was about it. And then the presentation was on the ice in between the two games of the Frozen Four.
So you get drafted, and again, Phoenix Coyotes, if I'm not mistaken. How was the draft back then? Were you even in the building when your name was selected?
I was.
Yep.
I thought it'd be a cool experience. I wasn't ranked very high,
Yep.
but my family and I thought it would be a cool experience. You only get drafted once, so we thought it'd be cool we drove down to Raleigh, and my whole family was there. Ended up getting drafted in the 4th round, which then was the second day. So a little disappointing in that aspect, but still a great experience. And then once I did get drafted, Wayne Gretzky was the head coach, so I got to go up to the suite and meet him and talk to him, and that was the first time I had met him. So that was a cool experience.
So you play in Phoenix, but then you get traded, and I looked it up. You got traded for a guy actually played in this building with the Brampton Battalion,
Yep.
Wojtek Volsky.
Yep.
What was it like getting traded?
It was interesting. So it was on the trade deadline day,
Yep.
And I actually found out on TV before anyone called me. So that was interesting. I got a phone call about a half hour later from Colorado's GM saying that they just acquired me, and then about 10 minutes later from the GM of Phoenix and saying that I had gotten traded and wished me luck and thanked me, and then from there I got on a flight and I played that night for Colorado's minor league team in Cleveland. So
were you bitter about getting traded? I hear a lot of players first time they get traded, pretty bitter. How did you handle it?
I wasn't bitter. I was just excited for a new opportunity.
Okay.
I really liked it in Phoenix and San Antonio where their minor league team was, and Chad was there, so we played together in pro for a little while, which was great. So I really enjoyed it there. I wasn't bitter, but I was just looking forward to a new experience and a new challenge.
So on a fast forward, you played roughly 300 games in the NHL, but then you spent a few years in the American Hockey League. I know you played in Grand Rapids, you played in Rochester, and I believe it was Scranton Wilkes-Barre at the time.
Yep.
What was that experience like, and how did you transition into coaching?
Well, the ups and downs of getting called up and getting sent down to the American League it's always tough. You're happy. You're obviously happy when you get called up, and then it's a little disappointing when you get sent down.
Sure.
But that's kind of part of it. And I just wanted to continue to play hockey for a living for a few more years, basically as long as I could. And I got lucky enough to play in a couple nice cities with good coaching staffs and good teammates. And so I always had a great experience, whether it was in Grand Rapids or Rochester. My family and I loved it in Rochester and Wilkes-Barre, and so we always had a good experience. And when you're one of the older guys, you get treated maybe a little bit differently,
Sure.
A little more respect, and so I always had a great experience.
So you play, but you got into coaching. How did that happen?
Well, when the pandemic hit, I was still trying to play, and with the program being right down the road from me now, I was asked to come, volunteer and coach, and so I was still training, working out, and skating, and then I'd pop over here and help out with a few practices.
Sure.
with Dan Muse's team. And J.D. Forrest was the head coach of Wilkes-Barre at the time, and he was an assistant while I played there. So he gave me a call and said, "I heard you're getting into coaching. Are you interested in coaching in Wilkes-Barre? I need an assistant coach, and we have a previous relationship, and why don't you at least interview for the job?" So I didn't think there was a chance I'd actually get it, but I interviewed and did a couple interviews, and they offered me the job. I figured that might be a good place to start coaching. So
you go full circle. You go from coaching in the American League to coming back here.
Yep.
Again, the same question I asked you a few minutes earlier. Has coaching this group met or exceeded your expectations?
Probably exceeded. It's different. Coaching in the American League, there's men there.
Yep.
They're older. They're a little more experienced. And then you come here and it's a new experience. These guys are super skilled. They love the game of hockey, but I don't know how well they've been taught the game of hockey. So, trying to teach systems and trying to teach them little details of their game to help them. So it's different, but it's been a lot of fun. It's been a struggle at times, like I talked about. There's been some ups and downs, but I've had a great time so far.
Kevin Porter, thanks for your time, and then we'll definitely talk again. Great job.
Sounds good. Thank you.